Mega Man Legends is the best Mega Man game ever made. Mega Man X4 is the best 2D Mega Man. Brave Fencer Musashi is a great game, probably the best game ever made for PS1. And I still want a Brave Fencer Musashi 3 and a Mega Man Legends 3. Or that Gex Out of the Gecko is supposed to have a remaster at some point, which I probably won't be able to play on my computer. But I think all of you would enjoy it. Or that Shining Force 1 and Shining Force 5, Shining Force EXA. On the PS2, Wild Arms 3, Wild Arms 4, Dragon Quest 8. I already said Shining Force EXA, which is perhaps the best PS2 game ever made, though Dark Cloud is a good game as well. Shining Dot Hack Infection, a video game that is a direct sequel to the anime Dot Hack Sign, is perhaps the most immersive video game. Grandia 3, Star Ocean Till the End of Time. As for PlayStation itself, I think most people are familiar with the original Silent Hill games. LSD Dream Emulator, Blam Machine Head, Blam has an exclamation point after it, Jersey Devil, Spyro the Dragon, Crash Bandicoot, all of the Final Fantasies. Though I'd say Final Fantasy VIII and Final Fantasy IX are perhaps the best, though Final Fantasy V I think is up there as well. Can't forget Final Fantasy Tactics. Lots of really good old PlayStation games. On the original NES, Dragon Spirit, The New Legend, Robo Warrior. Robo Warrior is a very good one. It's made by Gillette Co., the Japanese leisure company, back in 1987. Mario 1, Mario 3, Super Mario World, Swords and Serpents, Castlevania 2, A Simon's Quest, both the Battle Kit games, Battle Kit 1, Fortress of Peril, Battle Kit 2, Mountain of Torment, and can't forget I Want to Be the Guy. Sega Genesis games, of course, you have all the Sonic games, Sonic 1, 2, 3, Sonic Shuffle, Sonic 3D Blast, Sonic Spinball, Vector Man 1 and 2, Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel, Kid Chameleon, Desert Strike, Columns, lots of very good video games out there. I enjoyed the original Halo games. Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8. This is Let's Play Higurashi. By the way, I also have to say I greatly enjoyed the animes Reincarnated as a Slime, Overlord, of Ainz Ul Gone, Bubblegum Crisis Tokyo 2040, Gundam Wing, Bible Black, and the Slayers anime from 1995, Alina Inverse. Also have to very strongly recommend the 1997 movie, The Odyssey. It's 3 hours long and stars Armand Assante. It's based off of the Greek story from about 3,000 plus years ago by Homer called The Odyssey. It's about the story of Odysseus. It's a very good movie. It's worth the 3 hours. Perhaps the second best movie ever made. I would also like to recommend the Let's Players, even though most of them are not active anymore. In fact, I'm not even sure if they're alive. Ultra J-Man. He did things like I Want to Be the Guy, Bonesaw, and the Battle Kit games. He also did a cooperative game called How to Be a Complete Bastard with Rom Scout. There's also the Freelance Astronauts, otherwise known as S.A. Maxwell Adams, doing games like Prototype, Mass Effect, Zelda's, Worms, a 4-player Super Mario Bros. Wii. And you have Proton John, who did a lot of Mario ROM hacks back before anything like a Mario Maker on a Wii existed. Heck, a Wii itself didn't exist. Back when Lunar Magic was used to make things like Kaizo Mario World. Other than that, it would be interesting to see, especially games like Brave Fencer Musashi. And that's another thing. Brave Fencer Musashi, same as you look at the way Crash Bandicoot game was developed. There are limitations of the CD-ROM as well as the console. The main point is you could tell by playing Brave Fencer Musashi, the first one, that there was a lot of extra stuff they wanted to add. The second one on the PS2 is a spiritual sort of reboot, sort of a reimagining. The best way to... It's an okay game in its own right, but it's absolute garbage compared to the first game. But I'm still glad I played the second game, which is Samurai Legend Musashi. It's on the PS2, and it's like I said, it's an okay game in its own right. But it's nowhere near as good as the first game, in my opinion. And like I said, in the first game, you could tell there was a lot of extra stuff they wanted to include in the game, but they couldn't due to limitations. But I think the game Blue Fire and Voidwalker on Steam kind of feel the same in terms of platforming. Brave Fencer Musashi has orchestral music, anime voice actors like from Dot Hack Sign, beautiful brushstroke artwork, and everything's a food pun. You have to save the all-you-can-eat kingdom from the Thirst Quencher Empire. I think the platforming segments underneath the restaurant during Chapter 3 with the Vambies is really good platforming. But, yeah, you fight a rock scorpion at some point, a giant robot, Fuhrer Flatski, Satan, a giant green dragon, Final Form Frieza, a Tower of Death, a giant queen ant, a giant frost dragon that does kamehamehas, some interesting little puzzles. Also, you have a Dance Dance Revolution battle with Iron Mouse the VTuber. So, that happens in Chapter 6, by the way, toward the very end of the game. There's also a minecart segment, Chapter 5, that is very reminiscent of the game Thumper. Samurai Legend Musashi is on PS2, has terrible voice acting, very different fighting mechanics and gameplay and environments, very different story, terrible voice acting, surf guitar music, and thick cel-shaded manga style artworks. Also, you are taught by a racist stereotype of Asians, talking cat, who's both doing the worst Chinese accent ever, as well as tons of cat puns. And again, I'm not faulting anyone on creativity. I'm not one of those people saying, "Oh no, I don't." Like I'm upset because you did something in a game. Like no, I don't give a fucking shit. I like creativity in video games. I'm just saying the voice acting's so bad that it physically hurts my ears to listen to it. But yeah, I'm not about to like obviously there's some games that I don't want to be hentai or you know super violent, but some games you do want to be violent or fan service rich, like Senran Kagura, the game that refuses to show nipples for some reason. But I think it would have been an improvement. But again, just if you don't like it, don't buy it. I'm just saying. I'm kind of surprised there's no Senran Kagura mods out there. Like imagine like people modded those games. Heck, maybe there are. I'll have to look that up. Everyone's like, focus on what you're doing. I'm like, My phone is ringing. I'm not going to answer that. It's too far away. There's nothing this old man doesn't know. Are you alone, Retta? Yeah. It seems that Mion wasn't with her, but that didn't change the situation at all. Why did you come here? Hey, Keiichi-kun, I'd like you to open the door so we can talk. Can I come inside, I wonder? It was true that speaking through a chained door wasn't the right way to talk to a classmate, but at my house the chain has to be on at night. Don't worry about it. Then it can't be helped, I guess. Rena pouted rather sadly, but she kept smiling, at least, and her efforts to keep that smile up was quite painful. By the way, if there's any anime or video games that any of you out there would like to suggest, feel free to type them in the comments. Also, I guess any other YouTube channels, feel free. Like some people out there are like, oh, don't advertise or self-advertise promotion or talk with other people. Like I don't give a shit. As far as I'm concerned, people can say whatever the fuck they want as long as they're being polite to people and they're not doing anything illegal. Like I would suggest like channels like Asmongold or Lucy Pyre or Rev Says Desu. Heck, Lythero and the Three Idiots. Like I said, I enjoyed the DBZ boss raid battles. Well, I like Let's Plays, like Gray still plays. I've always liked Let's Plays, and eventually I decided to make a channel when I had the opportunity. Though, while it's mainly a focus on Let's Plays and comedy, I do whatever the hell I want on this channel because, well, it's a place for me to be able to talk, without a filter. Because I just generally don't have people to talk to. So, I guess talking to a computer screen is the most healthy option. But in general, I just like making videos. I get so much enjoyment watching a lot of YouTube videos. One, it's just generally enjoyable, and two, well, I'd say especially with Let's Plays in the past, one, it's definitely a lot cheaper than buying a lot of video games. Some stuff is just too expensive and I'm not rich. Beyond that is, well, yeah, it's vicariously, it makes you feel less alone in the world. Heck, I know some people played some games at my suggestions, like Sir Eldrick IV, Zakana 13, DDR Maniac 007, and Zeta Plays. Zeta Plays is he has thousands and thousands of videos, and he's been doing stuff since eternity, and he even did Minecraft back when Minecraft first started, and the Nether when it very first released. He also did a mod called the Aether, but main point being is He's trying to play every single NES game, Sega Genesis, all the retro games in existence. But I think it's interesting to look at all the different consoles, like the differences in what they're capable of, like technologically wise, as well as, just the way the controllers look. I don't know. I like video games. I like anime. I like Let's Plays. I like doing Let's Plays. I like watching Let's Plays. And I enjoy both just people doing normal Let's Plays as well as people that actually have VTuber avatars for it too. As well as people like Asmongold. It's like just Asmon. It's like, I wonder what it'd be like watching him play like Thumper or Splasher, Jubilee, or Nerve, or Death Mark II, or Chaos Head Noah, or the Perfect Apocalypse Purgatory Forever trilogy, or How to Date a Magical Girl, or this game. I wonder what Asmongold would think playing this, or any of those games I listed earlier for various consoles. Imagine Brave Fencer Musashi, or Gex. Heck, Asmongold would probably have a fucking blast playing Gex 2 and Gex 3. I don't know if he'd really get into Gex 1 so much. Gex 1 was very different. It wasn't a bad game, it's not exactly... It's like saying you have like the Terminator movies. On the one hand, you don't want somebody to watch just Terminator 2, and you feel like it would kind of ruin the story of Terminator 1. But if you could only suggest one of those movies and they would only ever be able to watch one, it's like, well, you'd have them watch Terminator 2. But ideally, they'd watch Terminator 1 first. Oh, by the way, you guys ever hear of a South Korea K-pop dude by the name of Psy? Psy. 5 good songs by him that I strongly suggest are Gangnam Style, Mother, Father, Gentleman, Daddy, New Face, and I Love It. All really great songs. But also, what do you guys think about Rebecca from Edge Runners? Like, the Cyberpunk game's really cool. It's just, I don't know, I feel like it's the same with a lot of games. I feel like when you find a game that you really, really enjoy, sometimes, yeah, you can get a lot more enjoyment out of a game by playing it over and over or taking different routes. But sometimes you just feel like, it's like, you want more. Like, I remember the original Halo trilogies as being really good. And I know, Halo's doing more stuff with, Unreal Engine 5.5 or something. It would be interesting to see, the original Halo trilogy remastered, or, heck, even just play the original version on PS5. Because I'll say this. I definitely enjoyed Halo 1, 2, and 3 a lot. I even say Reach and ODST were okay. They had their good points as well. Oh, you guys remember Warcraft 2 and the original StarCraft games? Like the old school original Warcraft games and StarCraft. Construct more pylons. Zug Zug. No, I don't get that reference. I wonder when the last time Asmongold ever played. Grant, I don't even know. I'd have to probably down some online. I don't really want to do stuff like that. But yeah, I think Asmongold probably hasn't played the original Warcraft or StarCraft in a very long time. I would imagine he did play him because he was really big into the World of Warcraft, but that's a different thing. That's an MMO. Which I'm fairly certain he played StarCraft in the original Warcraft RTSs. But I don't think he's played them in a long time. But yeah, I would strongly recommend Brave Fencer Musashi for the PS1, Shining Force EXA PS2, Dot Hack Infection PS2, and oh yeah, the original Mega Man Legends. Absolutely phenomenal. best Mega Man game ever. I still want Mega Man Legends 3. And granted, if they ever do re-release Mega Man Legends 1, I still want it to play the same way. You know, that blocky sort of tank controls, which kind of, I understand it seems kind of shitty compared to modern movement schemes, but I want it to be, faithful to the original of the game. But it's like sometimes there are some people that remake games that censor things out because oh, that's too offensive. And I'm like, but I don't want you taking shit out away from my game. It's like you're removing stuff. I mean, at this point, it'd be like, imagine if someone redubbed all of Dragon Ball Z, but with Generation A, Alpha brain rot stuff. All of a sudden, you'd be like, Vegeta be talking, be like, oh yeah, it's like I'm the prince of all Saiyans. We lived on the planet Ohio. But then the Riz Lord Frieza showed up. And, bullshit like that. And then Nappa would be like, no cap. It's like, you guys get the point. Imagine he just did the brain rot lingo, but it's I don't know, the Bible or Shakespeare or Dragon Ball Z. I hope whatever future Dragon Ball Z has, whether it's Super or games or whatever, I hope Akira Toriyama would be proud of whatever direction it's going in. And I'll tell you this. If there ever is any more Halo games, I would like them to release on PlayStation. But I will say, I would think that anyone making an FPS game should be somebody who really enjoys an FPS game. Because at the end of the day, I just want to have fun. And yes, there are some games I want to have tons of fan service, some I don't. Obviously, if you were to play Space Marine 2, which I don't because that would be expensive, but I watched some Let's Plays of it. Main point being is, it would be out of place if you all of a sudden there were just titties everywhere and tentacles. I mean, that's not what the game's about. But I'm certainly not, turning my nose up at hentai games. Actually turning something else up at it, though. Main point is, it's kind of saying, I really like chocolate. And I really like spicy foods. But I don't like them together. It's disgusting. Same way, I really like hentai. And I really like FPS games and stuff like that, but they don't need to be the same. Though, honestly, if they can mix, there's some games that mix it well. Granted, again, they're probably a bit more censored than I would have liked. But again, Senran Kagura. Some of it's Dynasty Warriors, some of it's set up. And of course, they have issues with censorship, so Senran Kagura might just be a dead series at this point. But there's a thing called Peach Beach Splash or something where they all go on water guns shooting each other, and I thought that was cool. But yeah, I do think it would be interesting if Asmongold could get away with playing Senran Kagura, especially a modded one that's made to be less family friendly. But yeah, especially imagine him playing Thumper, or Nerve, or Splash, or Jubilee, or the Perfect Apocalypse trilogy, Purgatory Forever. Or imagine, heck, other than Deathmark and Deathmark 2, I'd have to start with the original Deathmark. Maybe do the Deathmark side game that for a while there was considered 2. But yeah, Chaos Head Noah. Granted, that's if he's individual novels. I don't know if he'd want to do, because that just, I don't know. A lot of people might find that boring. I don't know. But yeah, Brave Fencer Musashi and Mega Man Legends are really great games. Also on NES, Robo Warrior. Also Dragon Spirit, the New Legend. Also Swords and Serpents. Even though she was tugging at my heartstrings, I didn't lower my guard. As long as I stayed like this, even if it made my heart ache, my life wasn't in danger. What I really feared, more than the possibility the hoodlums would assault me if I removed the chain, was trusting Arena enough to remove the chain, and having my friendship betrayed. Yeah, because betrayal never comes from your enemies. As long as the chain wasn't unlatched, even if it made my heart ache, I wouldn't have to deal with being betrayed by Rena. Since it didn't seem like I'd removed the chain from her silent urging, she appeared to give up on trying to get into the entranceway. Have you eaten yet, Keiichi-kun? No, I haven't eaten. Since my mom wasn't there, dinner wouldn't be ready no matter how long I waited. I laid down when I got home and was woken up by the phone. I didn't have a chance to eat since I used all that time talking. I was going to have cup noodles in any case. I could just eat one whenever I wanted to. No, not yet. What about it? Heh, then good. Look here. I brought a bunch of dishes. Rena held out a stack of boxes wrapped in cloth. If I could use your kitchen, I could heat up the miso soup and other stuff. It's fine. You don't need to do that. But there's a lot of tofu and vegetables in it. Does Kichiku not like that type of stuff? I wonder. There's no way I wouldn't like that. I love miso soup and lots of ingredients. With white radish, carrots, burdock root, and potatoes. Dense and fibrous root vegetables. Yeah, that miso soup looks incredible. I also brought rice, so if you microwave it, you can eat it really quickly. Without a doubt, rice needs miso soup. Stuffing rice down your gullet, sipping miso soup in between ravenous bites. Oh yes, how wonderful it is to be born Japanese. Also, I made some more pickles. I made sensai pickles this time. I don't know what that is. Before I had moved to Hinamizawa, I scoffed at the mountain vegetables called sensai, but I was captivated by their charm the first time I tried them. Such a deep yet light flavor. The vegetables from the supermarket were tasteless and bland compared to these. If you had to describe them, then they were vegetables for the uninitiated. To become an expert such as myself, you first had to partake of sensai. It was common knowledge around here that the Ryugu family's traditional pickles were wonderfully delicious. No matter what kind of pickles they were. They'd go well with that fluffy white rice. And also, but wait, there's more. So delicious, it just seems so delicious. Farewell to my unhealthy self, who said he'd make do with cup noodles. Rena appeared to be in good spirits, and she was offering such a delicious-sounding dinner. The stress evaporated from my gut, and hunger reared its voracious head. At the same time, my wariness of Rena suddenly dwindled. Rena did say she was alone. It shouldn't be a problem letting her inside, though the possibility that it was laced with poison still hadn't been ruled out. At that moment, a cold chill ran down my spine once again. I couldn't understand why such a sensation had occurred just then. But the voice inside me was sounding the alarm. This happy Rena, speaking of this charming dinner, was dependent on one premise. And that premise was that tonight, dinner hadn't been made at my house. Meaning it was under the assumption that my mom, who should be making it, wasn't here. At any normal household, 7 o'clock would be around the middle of dinner time. If my mom were here, we'd be eating dinner around this time as well. The fact that she brought over all the makings of a meal at this time was inherently strange, unless she knew. Rena, did she? Did she know that my parents weren't home? But there were also the chance that this was a bluff. I had turned on the lights and a bunch of other stuff to make it seem like my parents were here. There was a chance that Rena was unsure if my parents were home, but I had to wonder. The laundry, the garage, the evening paper. There were plenty of signs of them being hastily tidied up. It was hard to say that Rena didn't have a chance to determine if my parents were here or not, but there was no reason for me to confess that right now. I should try holding on to the fact as long as I could. I think the other thing to keep in mind is this. Unless she had all the stuff pre-ready, which could be the case, I mean, she would have had to know in advance to have the chance to cook. Also, why is she normally cooking this much? Where is the rest of her family? First of all, the chain was still latched. For as long as I didn't take it off, Rena wouldn't be able to do anything to me. I'm quite grateful. But dinner will be ready soon. Huh? Is that so? Is that so? I know you went through all the effort and everything, but well, unable to think of a good way to refuse, my words trailed off weakly. But some of this could work as side dishes, I think. I'm sorry, we have more than enough already. My mom always makes quite a few side dishes. So... Huh? You have side dishes? With a smile that bordered on a cringe, I dodged her questions apologetically. But the feeling I tried to ignore began creeping up my back again. I spoke as if my mom was setting down dinner right now, but didn't mesh well with what Rena was saying. Rena was talking as if she was aware of some obvious fact, and that I was aware of it as well. So Keiichi-kun can cook? What did you make, I wonder? No, it's not that Rena assumed out of nowhere that I had made the dishes. No, not so much that I had made them, but rather that my mom hadn't. Did you really make them? The side dishes? Did you, Keiichi-kun? It wasn't me who made them. My mom did. No, she's making them. Right now. So you see, I'm sorry, but I can't eat what you brought. Rena fell silent at that moment. At that moment I felt that the light had suddenly disappeared from her eyes. How about I try guessing what Keiichi-kun's dinner will be? It doesn't matter what I'm going to eat. Let's see. The conversation might appear natural at first glance, but Rena was firmly in control. It felt like I was being interrogated. Your dinner, I wonder. Is it something that can be made with just hot water? Hey now, stop with the insults. The insults. I can't believe you'd belittle my mom's extravagant dinner like that. Tickets sold out, full capacity ready, it's that amazing. I tried my best to put on a strong front, but I couldn't grit my teeth quite right. So instead I looked like someone who was borderline hysterical. But Rena showed no reaction whatsoever, even to that silliness. Keiichi-kun, did your mother really leave you dinner? No, you see, she didn't leave me dinner, she's making it right now. It's almost time for dinner. Rena had taken that assertion of mine, that my mother was home and making dinner right now, and was completely ignoring it. I could tell that the more I panicked, the colder Rena became. Hey, Keiichi-kun? At that moment an uncomfortable chill crept in from the gap in the doorway. Is your mom home, I wonder? I wonder. I couldn't keep up this charade anymore. Rena? She knew full well that my parents weren't home. But I had come too far to admit that now. Anyway, my parents were here, and we'd be having dinner soon. That was the situation I had concocted, so I answered. I told her she was here. She's here, of course. She's here, of course. I could feel the humidity drying out from the surrounding air. Rena's eyes are becoming even more frigid, piercing with their galid glare. Why? Huh, what do you mean? I tried acting casual, but that facade was torn off me the instant I looked into Rena's eyes. That looked informed me of Rena's response, faster than she could open her mouth. Why have you been lying to me, I wonder? I wonder. I'm not lying. That's a lie, isn't it? It's not a lie. Lies. Rena's outburst sent a jolt surging through my body. Ren and I were still separated by what few inches that slightly ajar, but still chained door could afford. But despite that, I was still being cornered. My house, which I'd considered a safe haven until now, had become more like a dark alleyway where no one could save me. Shall I guess here at dinner, Keiichi-kun? Let's see. I knew now that Rena had already known that my parents were not here tonight. But it was still so strange that it had come to this. Even if she somehow knew that my parents were home, there was no way she should be able to guess what I'd be eating tonight. But Rena said she'd guess. How could she guess it? How could she know it was instant cup noodles? That's right, isn't it? That I was going to eat? Wait, the cooking repertoire of a man who can't do housework is probably nothing but cup noodles after all. Looking at this statistically, it was the most probable answer. That didn't mean she was guessing. I don't think you'll be full of just noodles. I think having rice and stuff will definitely hit the spot. Calm down, Keiichi Mabura. This was just a coincidence. Rena was just reading certain tales of mine. So the fact that she was inferring that I was thinking alarmed me. But it wasn't as if she was actually reading my mind. It was... If it was being read, then she was a demon. No, not a demon. Things like that. They couldn't possibly exist. Do you like them? Do you mean noodles? No. Rena indicated that the point my answer was addressing was wrong. Her rebuttal was so short that I momentarily didn't understand the words Rena had spoken. So sorry, Rena. What did you say just now? Huh? About what? Just now, you asked me if there was something that I liked, don't you? It wasn't long before I regretted how carelessly I pushed forward with that question. It was such a simple answer. That was why I wasn't able to comprehend it. Pork and bone and ginger flavor. I wondered how I appeared in the moments my mind went completely blank until the moment I was able to recover, as my field of view began to distort, slowly swirling in a counterclockwise direction. I lost all sense of balance. Why do you know that? I didn't even deny it. That was the type of frenzied state I was in. How could Rena know even this? Not even caring as I mashed her head against the door, I fixated my gaze on Rena, but she didn't even flinch when she saw me do that. I certainly did buy them. I bought a bunch at once. I bought a whole case. How could you know that? Why, I wonder. Quite strange, isn't it? Isn't it? How could you dodge the question at a time like this? The chain and door suddenly were no longer protecting me. How do you know? Why do you know? Answer me. You bought them at the 7th Mart, didn't you? A shiver ran up my spine. I tried covering it up with an angry facade. Like I said, why do you know that? I was behind you, following you the whole time. But what are you saying? I couldn't understand why she was saying she'd been following me all this time. That's because Rena was right behind. Keiichi-kun's back. The whole time. Ha 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 ha. Like that night? That night I was absorbed in the phone conversation Oshi-san, and I didn't even sense her being there. Standing behind the door, behind me, standing there, just like that. When Keiichi was picking out the noodles, I was watching the entire time. You picked out so many different flavors, didn't you? Then your mom got angry. If you're going to pick the expensive ones, then you should just pick one type, she said. Then Keiichi-kun picked out the big box of pork and bone ginger flavor that he loves so much, didn't he? I like it too. Pork bone noodles. But I can never eat a whole big bowl myself. My brain was paralyzed, dulling my senses. It might have been a defense mechanism to diminish the fear I was feeling to non-traumatizing levels. With the fear being diminished, the fog enveloping my mind was cleared away. Then I could understand what Rena was saying, and started to put meaning behind her words. I wonder how, smug Alana would feel playing this game. Even so, My fear hadn't subsided completely. I feel like Asmongold probably has heard about this anime. He probably watches anime, who knows. If he hasn't, I would hope no one would spoil the story for him. But I wonder if Asmongold would actually sit down and play this game. And what his reaction would be. It was like I was standing at the edge of a cliff, eyes closed, so I didn't have to look down. It didn't actually solve any of the basic problems. I slowly took a step backwards, and as I withdrew, Rena advanced. So, Keiichi-kun, can you open this? We can eat dinner together. I'm sure it's going to be delicious, so... Okay? Rena's pale, slender fingers squirmed through a crack in the door, one at a time, as if they had a mind of their own, rattling the chain. If she had unlatched the chain from the door, a feeling of terror would have just exploded within me. But Rena didn't do that. She was simply imploring me to remove the chain. She was doing her hardest to light the fuse to the powdered cake in my heart. Trying again and again. Clatter, clatter. But it doesn't light. It doesn't light. Open up. Keiichi-kun. Please go away. I beg you, please go away. How can you say something so mean, I wonder. Please go away. Go away. Go away! The powdered keg inside me finally went off. No smoldering. It just exploded. I tackled the door. The force through the door had knocked Rena momentarily off balance. I couldn't hesitate here. I grabbed onto the doorknob with both hands, planted my feet firmly, and pulled with all my might. But that slamming sound I so desired didn't happen. I could feel a tiny, disturbing bit of resistance, keeping the door from closing. And the source of that was Rena's fingers. And the source of that was Rena's fingers. Each of those fingers wriggling, squirming around like the tendrils of a carnivorous plant through the crack in the doorway. It hurts. It hurts, Keiichi-kun. It hurts. Ah! It wasn't a harsh shriek, but more of a yelp she was trying to keep back. Go away. Go away. Go away. I kept on pulling on the door with all my might. I didn't realize that if I didn't loosen my pull on the door at least momentarily, Ren wouldn't be able to pull her fingers out, and that was why the door wasn't closing. It really hurts, Keiichi-kun. I'm sorry if I was messing around too much. I didn't care one bit for her apology. No matter how much she apologized, it didn't change any of what she had done up until now. It didn't change anything. It hurts. It hurts. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go away. Go away. Go away. Rena couldn't leave even if she wanted to because I'd trapped her fingers. Rena's white fingers had become deep red and were no longer even squirming. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go away. Go away. Go away. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Rena's apologies were occasionally twisted with pain, but like a broken record, she was intent on repeating it over and over. Go away. Go away. Go away. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. I pulled on the door even harder. Finally, Rena's fingers were somehow able to slip out from their imprisonment in the doorway. The moment that happened, the door closed soundly. I could hear the thud of Rena falling on her butt on the other side. I locked the door immediately. It made a loud clunk, voicing my rejection to Rena. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Keiichi-kun. I'm sorry. Open up, Keiichi-kun. Rena leaned against the door, apologizing profusely. And nothing else. And after confirming that I was sufficiently sealed off from her, I trudged away from the entranceway. On the other side, I could still hear Rena echoing her apology. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Those pitiful words, they would be forever seeking my forgiveness. I didn't feel bad about this at all, but that wasn't out of any sort of malice. I felt a sort of hazy sense of relief that I was able to escape from Rena. Before Mion had threatened me at the doorway, saying there was nothing she didn't know, and just now at the same place Rena told me the same thing. My feeble attempts to disguise the fact that my parents weren't home had served no purpose from the start. I should have just pretended to be out and not even opened the door. My meager plans hadn't helped at all. In Hamazawa it was impossible to outwit them. Even though I was on the other side of the door, I wanted to get far away from Rena as possible. 1 step, 2 step. With each step, her sniveling apologies became more distant. I sprinted up the stairs and dove into my room. As you expect, I was finally no longer able to hear Rena repeating her endless apology. Diving into my bed, I was startled by the hard lump I felt. There was something in my bed? It was the receiver. I finally remembered. I was in the middle of a call of Oshi-san. Looking at the clock, apparently not much time had passed since I went downstairs. Could it be that my clock had run out of batteries? I had talked to Rena for so long, how did almost no time pass? But the hand on the clock was ticking forward, 1 second every second as usual. As I put the still warm receiver to my ear, time, which felt frozen, began moving once again. Hello? Oshi-san? Sorry to keep you waiting. No, not at all. I didn't wait that long. It became apparent that the amount of time that had passed between myself and Oshi-san was different. Over the phone I could hear an energetic voice from a sports program or something that drove home just how far away Oshi-san really was. Rena came just now. Did she come to play? I wasn't confident that I could coherently explain the situation to Oshi-san. But I didn't need to right now. Right now I needed to know about Rena. That's right, I was planning to ask Oshi-san more about Rena, but Rena's little visit had interrupted the conversation. What was true and what was false, I couldn't tell. The one thing I knew was the single grim reality that Rena was suspicious. I might be able to figure something out if I asked Oshi-san about her. Up until now, I had regretted it. Whenever I forced myself to ask about things that I was better off not knowing. But looking at it that way, you could say I'd hit rock bottom. There was no possible way I could feel any more regret than I did right now. No. Rather, I wanted to know if there was anything beyond this I would regret more. Forget about tomorrow. It wasn't out of the realm of possibility for something to happen tonight. I wanted to know everything I could. I was absolutely not going to die like this. Not without knowing anything. I definitely won't. Regarding Rena Ryuga-san, I did a bit of digging. Yeah, well, it wasn't much. I understood that Oshi-san was talking in circles. A bit, I meant. I dug so deep it'd be hard to discuss with you, since you're her friend. I want to know everything from your research. I don't think you'll be very interested in what I have to say, though. Oshi-san? I spoke as calmly as possible to Oshi-san, who was continuing to avoid the issue, and then I said it. I think Rena Ryuga is suspicious. Even if the past incidents were from Oyoshiro-sama's curse, Rena Ryuga is involved. Do you have some sort of proof that makes you believe Rena-san is suspicious? The manner in which Oshi-san spoke became very firm. Do you have some sort of proof? That was him talking as a detective. I only have circumstantial evidence. I see. I could tell even over the phone how disappointed Oshi-san was. Pulling on the fishing line when he felt a bite, only to reel in the bait, disappointed but ready to cast the line once more. That's how it seemed. Oshi-san? You can't do anything without physical proof, can you? What I meant was, you can't come and save me without proof. I stuck the barb in there. As Oshi-san loved roundabout ways of saying things, he understood me just fine. It's fine, Mamoru-san. I'll protect you. That was not the least bit reassuring. Oshi-san was just using me to continue his investigation. I was just going to get killed, and my corpse would be an important piece of evidence. That was all I was to him. Whether I'm alive or dead may be of no concern to your investigation. But it's all over for me when I die. Oshi-san went silent at the end of the line. That may have been too blunt, but I didn't care. All I needed to relay to Oshi-san was that I was currently in a very dangerous position. So please tell me about Rena. Satoshi transferred out, not too far in the future. I'll probably also do what Rena called transferring out as well, but you won't be able to find my corpse. You haven't even been able to find Satoshi's body yet. Alright, Mamoru-san, please calm down. I was already suppressing my agitation. Even with Oshi-san having to tell me, It wouldn't solve anything if I continued to scream about my mistrust of the police. It would seem that I could only depend on myself and the bat Satoshi left behind to protect myself. Then I at least wanted to know about what happened before Rena transferred schools. You're aware that this won't be very interesting, right? Oshi-san, realizing my resolve couldn't be swayed, finally caved. Right now, to me, there is nothing that I'll find uninteresting. Please. There are a few things I need you to agree to. Okay? Please, keep this confidential. Also, part of this may be speculation. Not all of it may be true. Are you still interested? It might not be true. I don't understand what you mean. There isn't one main investigation for the mysterious chain of deaths in Hinamizawa. Each one is treated as its own individual case. Thus, Rena Ryugu has never been linked to any of the investigations. Basically, you see, this isn't an investigation of Rena done by the police, and is a personal inquiry, is what you're telling me. This will make things a lot quicker since you understand. All of it is from either phone calls or meetings and interviews, so they aren't corroborated. I'm asking you to take this all with a grain of salt, is what I mean. Do we have an agreement? All of it is just from what you've heard. Yes, my apologies. It's all my personal investigation, you see. That thing before, you said you saw Rena's chart, didn't you? I'm sure I heard you say that. Oshi-san paused for a moment, and on the other hand of the line. I told you that too. Please pretend you didn't hear anything about that. I didn't care about Oshi-san having a certain obligations and responsibilities. I also didn't care if there was no proof. Even if they were just rumors, there's no smoke without fire after all. Please tell me, Oshi-san. Understood. Oshi-san finally opened those tight lips of his. It seemed that Rena lived in Hinamizawa a long time ago. She had moved to Ibaraki Prefecture after she finished elementary school. Then following that, right after transferring, the unfortunate incident with the breaking of the school windows happened. Then Rena confided to the doctor. It was Oya Shirasama. This was all that he knew. There isn't much difference between what I know and what you know, Mabara-san. Then what part did you investigate further? I didn't need to ask. It was the incident that happened just after she transferred. The incident Rena was responsible for, and for which she divulged to the doctor afterwards, correct? Yes. After you learned about that, you started suspecting Rena and the others, didn't you? Yes, I did suspect them. So they're the ones, after all? Ah, no, that's not what I meant by suspect them. Oshi-san was the type of person to say things with confidence, but these particular words were less than reassuring. Then who did you suspect? That it was Oyashiro-sama. Huh? That Oyashiro-sama's curse really exists? Yeah, right, well. Oshi-san's laugh was quite dry. Certainly not the kind that would make you want to join in. Oshi-san resumed the conversation about the dubious circumstances behind Satoshi's disappearance, the course of events up until the start of delving into Rena's past. Just then, there was thunder in the distance, and a heavy rain started pouring down. It came without warning, rain so heavy it felt like it could beat you down. I had left the window open in my room, open a crack, to let the heat out. The violent wind danced into my room, making the curtains flap wildly. What is it? Ah, nothing. It suddenly started raining heavily. Sorry, please continue. I got up while still on the phone and closed the window. I said at the beginning it was an incident, but because neither the school nor the victim's final charges, the police were never involved. So you see, those involved were very reluctant to talk. regardless of there being a victim who had one eye beaten so badly that it had permanent damage. It could have been the school or possibly some individual who made arrangements to keep this from going public. Also, the psychologist was very strict about their professional ethics. Hello? Mabara-san? Can you hear me? There was the figure of a person standing by the light near the mailbox this whole time. Even this torrential rain, they didn't have an umbrella. They were unquestionably drenched from head to toe. In this shower, which more resembled a waterfall, droplets of water dripped down from her hair. Just standing there, both arms dangling at her side.